Hey everyone, welcome to Marshall Vlog episode. Who knows what episode it is? Anyway, I I did this a while back, a couple of days ago, like 5 days ago or something like that. The same one, but I tried to go live to like answer questions and stuff like that, but I'm not a techno geek. I can barely do what I'm doing. So I didn't know how to make it work to where like I could see the people writing questions. And so I turned it off right away. And then I recorded again. And I went to go erase one of them and I erased the wrong one. And so my whole spiel on my view on forms totally shut, got erased. And I just erased the wrong one. I meant to erase the one that was the test, and I didn't. So I have to do this again, and I wanted to do it again because I think it's important to clear up what my position is on forms, because I know people, they hear me say some stuff and it might sound a little bit contradictory. I'm a JKD guy for the most part. I do practice Wing Chun, and I do have, and I have said things in the past like, the old karate katas are good, and I've had like the karate culture people on there, great guys, and really, like a lot of what they're doing and everything. And so somebody might be like, well, what's your position exactly? Because I've said favorable things about katas and about forms in the past, and to put up this that says, you 100% don't need forms is kind of a little bit inflammatory, and to kind of get you a little bit of a clickbait to get you to, click on it. But uh, but the other thing is I just kind of wanted to clear up my thoughts on the subject, so people kind of know exactly where I stand. Because I think I've said some stuff that might be considered to be a little bit contradictory. And already going through this once, my thoughts hopefully will be a little bit more clear. And that's why we actually do the Marshall vlog and not just do the Empty Cup podcast, because the Marshall vlog is just kind of me talking and reasoning things out in my own head, and very loose script. I basically have some ideas about what I want to talk about, but I don't have anything like written down, any bulletin points or anything like that. So it helps that I've already done this once, so I kind of know what I want to say. All right, so everything that I've said in favor of katas in the past and forms in the past, I still believe 100%. I believe that kata is a great way to learn balance. It's a great way to learn discipline, and that if you dig enough in some of these older type katas, that there are jewels in there that, when applied, when done under pressure, you can use. And some of the more original movements that you find in kata, in karate, are legitimate moves that, when you pressure test and you understand what they mean, they can become these really good jewels that you can dig out of your forms and dig out of your katas. Now, that doesn't mean that all katas are that way. That doesn't mean every form is that way. That doesn't mean if you go back far enough, even in the Chinese forms, which are pretty old, that they're good, because some of those movements are just, let's just face it, they're bad movements. They're not a legitimate, they're not something that would work even under pressure testing. If you pressure test it, you'd throw it out. Okay. So I practice my forms. I understand that there are jewels in there that under pressure testing can be refined and brought out, and I get all that, and I believe that. I believe that that those things are true. Again, a lot of what's going on with the guys over at Karate Culture, that's what they're attempting to do, to put forward karate as a back in place, as a legitimate style that can be used to really defend yourself in a real fight. Okay. believe that. And then let me digress for just one more second and talk about what I mean by kata. Because if you mean by kata, practicing anything in the air without an opponent, well, then everybody does kata. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm talking about those moves um, which are prearranged, which are handed down by tradition. Okay. Though that's what I mean by kata. So again, I affirm all that. Does that mean you need kata? No, to be a good fighter, to get all the benefits out of kata, to learn good movements for fighting, to be a disciplined person, a good true martial artist and have true martial spirit, to defend yourself or you warm up or anything like that. No, you do not. You 100% do not need katas or forms in order to develop those skills. And I mean that. So, you can learn, again, you look at the kata and you're like, oh, I pressure tested this and it becomes this great upward elbow under this pressure out of this form. And I learned this form. And that's true. But you can also now strip that out and just learn the upward elbow, or just learn a hammer fist strike, or just learn to kick and punch and stuff like that. So you can learn all that. Do katas teach you balance and stuff? Now, yes, some do. Do they teach you to be a disciplined person because you have to sit in these stances for a long period of time? Yeah, some do, but you can learn that without kata as well. You can learn to, try rolling for an hour, or try hitting the heavy bag for an hour, and just doing combinations against live sparring. You'll learn where your balance is. You'll learn where your center of gravity is in relation to another person. You'll learn all of that. Can you warm up doing kata? Yeah, you can warm up doing kata, but you can also warm up with yoga, or you can warm up with light punches on the heavy bag and some light sparring. You can totally warm up with all sorts of things. So I wanted to be clear about this because, the tagline for our show is, this is where modern and traditional martial arts collide and we dissect what's left over. And I really believe that. I want to give the best of both worlds and evaluate in an honest way what's true and what's not true. Okay, evaluate in an honest way. I don't want to just be somebody on one side or the other and screaming back without hearing the other side appropriately, or being able to represent the other side, or have the other side represented. I really want to see where these things are meeting right now and look intelligently at what is left over in the aftermath in truth. Okay, so the truth is that there are some katas out there that are just total phony BS. There rarely any good movements at all in them whatsoever that would never work in a fight. Bottom line, you're wasting your time doing them, other than if you want to do it to warm up, fine. Okay, got that. Now, are there other forms and katas that do have good stuff? Yeah, I've already said that. Okay, so that's true. It's true. But do you need that in order to get those good things out of there? No. Why do we have those katas then? Well, we have them because it's a tradition. It is a time when you didn't have a lot of books, and you didn't want your family secrets getting out, and your movements were handed down in this prearranged movement. What some guy thought would work for him best in a fight, and then some other guy thought, well, that's what my dad did work best for him, or my uncle did what worked best for him, and then handed down. And you didn't, write them down. You didn't have videotape. But we don't live in that time now. We live in a time where you can, where I'm not worried about whether or not the Kimura as well as I know the Kimura, or the upward elbow strike as well as I know the upward elbow strike, or what it is. The way we hide things is a little bit different than the way they hid things. They hid things through movements and stuff like that that they didn't really want to get out, and the explanation of them. Um, and we kind of like, maybe we don't have the camera on during some of our practices, where you see somebody like developing a new heel hook or something like that. You're like, hey, don't, let's not put the camera on right now. We don't hide things the same way they hid things. And we don't carry on our traditions the same way that the ancients carried on their traditions. So you don't need kata at all to be a good martial artist, or to develop skill, or to be a good fighter, or any of that stuff. You don't need any of that. Now, does that mean that you may not want to do that? Yeah, you could. Um, you could want to do that, and you could benefit from that. You could, let me put it this way, you could still be a good fighter, a good disciplined person, a legitimate martial artist, and practice your katas and believe all that stuff about katas that I've said in the past. Yeah, you can. And you can be, but you don't need that. And you can be all those things without those katas as well. So it really kind of depends on your personality. Now, I do have to say that if you do decide to go to the traditional route, and learn, these movements as prearranged, and then dig those jewels out, you kind of have one more hurdle, I think, that you have to, or one more challenge that you have to face, and that is the digging out of that stuff. So when I go to a kickboxing class or a jujitsu class, I don't have to decode what is going on in the form. I don't have to decode it all. I can just pretty much, okay, this is a jab, this is a strike, this is a hook. I'm up against a cage or something. I can dip down, and I know that this is a sweep, or this is a reversal. This is, um, I'm putting my hands against somebody. I don't have to decode that. And so that's kind of a benefit. The other benefit, or another challenge that you have to look out for, is then you have to worry about passing that on to the next generation, or to the next skill set of students. So, and that's cool if you want to do that, if that's your personality and you're representing the best of what kung fu has to offer, and the best of what karate has to offer. Then power to you. I don't have a problem with that. You want to come on my show and talk about it like people have in the past? It's awesome. But at the same time, I need to reiterate the fact that you can develop all that stuff without forms, and I don't have to decode or carry it on. So anyway, I hope that helps. I hope that clears it up. As somebody I still practice my katas. I still use them to warm up and stuff, but I'm not under the. First off, I don't teach them anymore. I don't pass that on. I just found that I can teach the same thing without that. I do it more just like personal development. I like to do the movement. It's kind of fun. And second thing is that I recognize that some of those things I would never use in a fight at all. So I'm kind of in this middle ground, so to speak, a little bit. Some people are probably a little bit more favorable to the no kata side of it than the kata side of it, or the form side of it. But you can still catch me practicing form sometimes. You can still catch me, working on something out of a kata or a form. I find that there is some value in it on occasion. So I hope that cleared it up where I stand on it. So the stance is just, I'm sorry that this has gone on like this, but let me reiterate, and that is that there is this legitimate use of form if you have all the qualifiers that I've talked about in the past. Awesome. You want to do that? Go ahead. You're welcome to do it. I won't think of you as any less of a martial artist or any less of a fighter or anything like that if you have all the qualifiers. The second point is you 100% don't need them, and there are less challenges to not having them, in my view. All right, so thank you very much. If you liked what I shared today, subscribe to the channel, and then also share this on your favorite social media and help us grow. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll talk to you again soon.